We are live.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this session. As you already know, this is called the 1 year from now vision exercise session. And what I hope you all get from it is a couple of things. First of all, having the experience of getting time to kind of envision and dream a little bit, I think is something that we don't always give ourselves time to do in the day-to-day stuff. But also having a list of tactical, here's what I do now, is incredibly helpful and gives you stuff to work on and a direction to go on. The businesses get a lot of attention, but the entrepreneurs, us, we tend to not maybe do so well with being kind of organized with what we are learning and when and why. So that's part of what we're going to spend our time doing today. So welcome to our session. My name is Hailey. I am a business strategist and an entrepreneurship coach. I'm based in Central Illinois, which it's funny, we're here in Central Illinois and most of us are here, but I think in the 5 years I've been in business, I've maybe had 2 clients local to the state of Illinois. I've had clients last year, I think Hawaii all the way to DC, and none in Illinois. So, so I'm based here in Central Illinois. I have a degree in organizational and leadership communication studies and am credentialed in interpersonal neurobiology, which is just an unnecessary amount of words to say that I spend a lot of time thinking about human development, transformation, and how businesses run and the humans within them interact with each other. It's what I do all day long and have for several years now. By way of my business experience, I have a coaching practice where I work with entrepreneurs, predominantly women identifying humans, kind of at the $250 to low $1 million mark. And while there's some business strategy happening, a lot of the work we do is on them as individuals, on leadership, on what it is they want to be building with their lives and with their time. So that's what I specialize in. That's what I spend all my time doing. For funsies, you'll see in these fun little workbooks, I watch terrible movies and chase around a second grader and lift weights, play volleyball, travel. So that's a little bit about me. If anyone has any questions, Trish, I'm assuming we'll pull them out of the chat. You all can say unmute yourselves. You're in person. Feel free to just shout out.
What you guys are unmuted.
Yeah, everyone's unmuted. But feel free to just ask me any questions that you would like. I am a fairly informal person, so feel free to interrupt me at any point in time. So this 1 year from now vision thing that we're doing, that we're looking at, I kind of chose this time mark because usually in corporate, we're talking, what's your 5-year vision? What's your 10-year career plan? What's the 20-year direction this organization is going? But with entrepreneurs, for us, things are changing so rapidly. We hardly ever know what 3 years from now is going to be like, or what the offers that we're selling are going to be like, what we're going to want to be doing. All of that stuff changes so rapidly. So I like using the year-long mark because it's enough time to dream and get excited and short enough time to actually do some things, not get lost in the length of the experience. So when we do the 1 year from now vision, it serves as a bullseye, a target that you get to come up with yourself. It gives you kind of journaling prompts, a place to talk, a direction, if you will. And then it lets you, as I said before, act, make decisions, kind of make those moves. Yeah, keeping things kind of tight and in your hands. So we're going to get into it. The only rules of the 1 year from now vision are that you take your time, that whatever comes to mind, you actually write that down. So humans have this really fun thing where our brains will pop up an idea, and then the part of us that has dealt with the real world will be like, no, that's a terrible idea, that's a stupid idea. How would we even do that? Why would we do that? So I want you, if you can, to kind of maybe give that version of yourself like a juice box and a snack, and maybe send them off to the corner to sit for a second. Whatever comes to mind, is what I would like for you to write down and to take down. And your goal is to kind of build a mental scene of a year from now. So I'll be giving you prompts. I'll run a kind of 90-second timer, and you can start to jot down some of your thoughts around this. Don't worry about not having all the answers. So some of my clients are very creative, and this is like a fun exercise. And they're like, yes, I've got gel pens and color pens. I've got a vision board, and they love it. And some of my clients really struggle with this because imagination is not their strong suit. So don't judge yourself. Don't worry about having all of the answers. Just kind of capture what is available to you today. All right. So if you are following along in the workbook, then awesome if I numbered these, but I didn't. It's this page here that just says questions. That's kind of the start of the questions. And you can follow along. I'm gonna say them out loud, so if you're online and you don't have it, you can follow along. You can write directly in this workbook if you have it. Okay, I'm gonna get started. There's always more to say. But. Let's see. And actually, before we get into it, I know I just said we're gonna get started and didn't, but before we get into it, for those of you in the room, how do you generally do with visioning, futuring, kind of the imagination part of it? Is it easy, medium, hard?
For me, it's kind of like long-term is easy. You know, when you don't have to fill in a lot of the details, it's a lot easier, you know,
Yeah.
But when you have to be more concrete, it's harder than a shorter term. So.
Yeah.
I think the strategy is easy. The tactical planning, it always tripped me. I was like, I want to get this, but how do I do that? So, yeah, I enjoy the strategy part, the tactical part, but I kind of get stuck in the mud.
Gotcha. Okay. I've got you in a few minutes.
It's easier when you spend more time switching fields and learning. So I'm like brand new to what I do anyway.
Perfect.
Chugging along.
Yeah.
I'd say phases of life, depends kind of where I'm at, season of time.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's easy for me to do, other times it's, I mean, I can sit there the whole afternoon off and fritter it away instead of 30 minutes.
Expert.
Yeah.
Definitely a frittering expert over here.
Yes. Okay.
Other times I'm like, everything get out of my way, I'm barreling down,
Yeah.
visioning and creating.
Yeah. Okay. So this I think will be kind of in the middle for a lot of you. It's not so far, but it also isn't just this week you're working on X. So it'll be kind of in the middle ground. Part of the work here is to, like I said, kind of release those expectations and just set those aside, and we're going to get into it. So I want you to envision it is January 19th, a wet and cold January of 2024. Super Bowl is coming up, just finished the holidays, you're getting back into the work day or the work time of year. So when you think about your work and your life, I want you to imagine, you know, starting the day. What do you see? What are the first things that come to mind? This is purposely wildly general. About 20 more seconds. Okay, I want you to think now about running your business, the experience you're having in the day-to-day in your business. What is running your business or businesses, if there are multiple assets, feel like? What is that experience like? Remember, it's a year in the future. Finish your thought on this one. I want you to think about what kind of impact are you having on your industry or the industries that you're in? And if that feels too broad or too wide, I want you to think about your circle of influence, your peers, the people that know you in your industry. What kind of impact do you have on them? What are you known for? And again, just as a gentle reminder, write whatever comes to mind. Even if it's just a small scrap of a thought, you feel a little uneasy about it, that's fine. Write it down anyway. Start to finish up that thought. We're kind of going in concentric circles a little bit. So you think about your industry more broadly, and then we're coming into what do your customers, your vendors, your team, what do they say about you most often? Maybe it's this, blistery January day and you're walking in, you overhear team member, customer, whoever, like, "Oh, John, you're so what?" Hopefully positive, something nice. I want you to imagine that you're sitting down to do the money review in your business or in your assets. You're looking at your bank accounts. What do you hope to see there? What do you see, and how do you feel about it? What are kind of your first thoughts about your money? You have a few moments to finish up your thoughts there. What do you think about your family? Might be blood family, might be found family, your people, the ones that have nothing to do with your work. What are your favorite things to do a year from now with your people? And I want you to try to capture how you feel when you are enjoying your family, when you are enjoying people where there's no financial gain, no transaction, no anything. What are you doing with them? How does it feel? What's that experience like? I will add that this is a new question to this process, a new consideration. But one thing about entrepreneurs is that we love our work so much, we very often become consumed by it and forget about, fun and liking people. Again, as a reminder, this is a year in the future. So this might be things you don't currently do with your people that you want to lead. Finish up your thoughts there. Now, it's a little bit challenging for this next one because we live in Central Illinois, so we have fewer of these sunny days. However, I want you to imagine it's a warm, sunny afternoon, so maybe it's a year and a half forward. You have no commitments, nothing to do. You have children, they're occupied. You have a partner, they're doing their own thing. So you have a sunny afternoon to yourself. The only caveat is that you have to do something fun, something that you find enjoyable. May not necessarily be conventionally enjoyable, but what would you do with that afternoon?
I feel like after you write down about 5 of these warm sunny day visualizations, you actually start to get into the fun stuff that you forget you like,
It's very
a
fascinating.
little bit of warming up.
Yeah, fun is hard. Like fun as an adult, and then as people that, enjoy our work, actually getting people to figure out what they do for fun is a little bit challenging.
Oh yeah, this for real. I had a Friday afternoon myself. I spent 3 hours trying to decide what to do.
Yeah, yes, exactly. exactly, or like
Burn the
trying
window.
to not like, well, I would catch up on laundry. or
Trying to
like,
not
I would-
wait
Yeah.
till email for 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly. So that's why we're just working this in here, a practice of, hey, we're whole people, which this next question kind of alludes to as well. In the next, a year in the future, you come up with a few new ways to enjoy your corporal form, your body. What do you do? What are some fun, actually, it doesn't even have to be fun, but new ways of enjoying your body, moving your body, exercising, experimenting? What are those activities? If you've already written one or two activities for the rest of the time you might write, what are some things you think you've learned about yourself or learned about your body in the process of learning this new thing? One of my clients recently started rollerblading as a 50-year-old woman, and she loves it. This is awesome. Got just a few more questions, and I'm going to kind of run through these questions as if it was a singular day. So we've kind of jumped around a little bit, but it's about noon, which it is, a little afternoon. And I want you to imagine that you're finishing your work and you're about to head to lunch, but it's been one of those mornings, where you're about to stand up and you feel spent, but like in a good way. Like I did everything I needed to do this morning. I feel really good about the things I created. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to lunch. It's gonna be awesome. What were you doing that morning? What were you working on that had you feeling energized and fulfilled and excited about the work you do? A minute to wrap those thoughts up. So go to lunch. It's your most favorite lunch. The lines were super short. Food was hot or cold. You get back, you finish your work for the day, and you're heading to dinner now with your favorite person at your favorite restaurant. So lock those two things in, your favorite person or people at your most favorite eating spot. You're so excited to tell your dinner companion about a major accomplishment that you've had. What do you tell them about? What do you say to them? And not in a compliment that's like, I got to inbox 0 this today. That was so fun. Like something you're like, I cannot believe this. I'm so proud of myself. Can't wait to tell my friend all about this. And I want you to think about your friend got all excited for you and they told the waiter to bring over a special dessert. And while they're bringing it and setting on the table, you're just sitting there thinking, I really enjoy my life. What do you most enjoy about your life right now? Like in that moment where, you know, you're setting down a chocolate lava cake and a bread pudding. I'm just thinking, wow. You have your favorite dessert. Naturally, whoever you came to dinner with is paying, which is amazing. They're so kind. You get home, belly is full, you're laying down into bed, and you think to yourself, I am so grateful to myself for starting what in the last 12 months. So as we're wrapping up the actual exercise itself, once we're done, we're going to talk about what the heck you're supposed to do with all these journal prompts. I want you to write down how you are feeling, having gone through this exercise, how you felt most of the time during the exercise. It might be relieved, happy, amazed, delighted, inspired. Could just as easily be overwhelmed or discouraged. Right? Just write down kind of any emotions or body sensations came up for you. Okay, so I'm curious. Thank you, Wi-Fi. I'm curious, what was that experience like for you all? How did you feel about it? Did you find anything fun, exciting? Was it like, no, I think about these things on the regular? What was your experience like?
I felt some elation at actually taking time to think those things. Like I found myself really kind of smiling and feeling really good, you know, kind of that I just was able to imagine it genuinely.
Yeah, good.
I think for me, as I was kind of going through some things, you know, identifying, you know, like what, you know, I felt anxiety about, you know, it's telling me, you know, the things that I should prioritize or whatever. Like, you know, if I had this, I would feel a lot less anxious or something like that.
There it is. Sorry, other feedback or thoughts? You all online, feel free to type into the chat if you would like. But
I felt optimistic and hopeful coming in here. It's kind of exciting to sit down and do this, but I felt a little bit more focused afterwards. Trish had a really good point, which was she listed off the first things off the top of her head, but as she started to dig a little bit deeper, some more important things started to surface. So I think that was useful.
Definitely.
yeah, this exercise can do, I mean, a bunch of things. Really, the whole purpose of it is just to see like what comes up. And if you notice, there's almost every other question. There's a lot of feelings language, like how did you feel about that? How did you feel? And the reason I did that is because feelings are just physical sensations that come off of our thoughts, right? And sometimes it's easier for us to feel that anxiety in our body, like you know what like the throat closing feels like, or like terror, I know what being afraid feels like over my body. And sometimes it's easier to grab a hold of that and then trace that back to like, okay, what part of this is making me feel that way, than necessarily going the other way around, which is, again, as entrepreneurs, we're so used to like, oh, that's Everest? Yeah, I could probably hike it, sure. Or like, you know, to just doing it, that sometimes we don't give ourselves enough space to be like, what part of this either doesn't fit, isn't working, do I feel any kind of way about? And then on the other side of it, pride is a feeling that we don't feel very often. Again, as people that are just like, yep, next thing, maybe you pat yourself on the back for a second, but we're just kind of doing the next thing. Stopping to feel the experience of pride in your body now gets your body primed to feel that in the future and experience that more and more as you go. So what do we do with this stuff? So what I want to do is kind of compile a list of things that you can work on and get very specific to pull some of these things into reality. So when I work with clients, we kind of put these things in 4 buckets, and that's kind of what we are working on in coaching together. Some of it is very pragmatic. Some of it is like, well, my vision is to have this much cash in the bank, but profitability is only at 10%. So we have to do something about that, right? Some of it is habit change. It depends on what it is. But the 4 categories are, the 4 questions are, who do I need to become to create these results? what do I need to prioritize, which kind of ends up becoming a to-do list, if you will. What do I need to learn? So shout out to all my chronic learners. You probably don't need 2/3 of it, or can at least prioritize. What do you actually need to learn right now? What is the actual hard skill that you need to gain mastery over to create some of the results that you want? And then if you think about your 1 year from now self, how would they be making decisions about your life today, about your business today, about the way your team is set up, about the way things are priced, about how your office is being run. I love asking your 1 year from now self how they feel about any sticky or tense situations that you're experiencing right now. What would they say? Future Hailey is always like, why are you doing that?
That's an interesting reversal too, because I feel like I'm always trying to give gifts to future me,
Yes.
and so thinking of it from the opposite perspective is really interesting.
Yeah. I love talking to the future version of myself. She is far calmer, still excellently dressed, but
Definitely.
she's where I want to be. So applying that kind of calm, very clear decision making to current problems is incredibly helpful.
Would you mind going through the 4 buckets? again?
Absolutely, yeah. So in the workbook, they're the next 4 questions, but they are, who do I need to become? And by that, I will offer, it's not necessarily about becoming like a whole brand new person or anything, but think about how future you like carries themselves, how they spend their time and their energy, but who do I need to become? What do I need to prioritize? Or if you are the type of person that keeps a kind of master running list, how might I reprioritize that list? What do I need to learn? And then how would I make decisions? How would future me make decisions now, if you will? So as you all are, feel free to kind of, and again, this is why we wrote this on paper, so you literally can just flip back and literally look at each prompt and go, okay, who do I need to become? Well, probably a person that has hobbies. I have none. I should make some room for that. Or a person whose team looks like this. A person that is comfortable doing these sorts of things, making these sorts of asks. A person that potentially has better boundaries on time or energy. A person that speaks more directly. And as you're doing the who do I need to become, because this can be a little bit of a slippery slope where then we can get trapped in like, I need to be a better person. You absolutely do not need to be like to spend a lot of time trying to be a new, improved, like atomic habits, like let's just change everything and optimize everything type of person. You don't need that at all. A good connecting point might be, how are you already like that? Like in what ways, or whatever you wrote down, in what ways are you already like that? Where do you already practice some of those characteristics, those traits? We can just discuss them as we go here, but so that first one, who do I need to be? What came up for you all?
focused, well organized, balanced. Maybe better about connecting with people if leads are going to emerge. So, things like that.
Yeah.
Nice. I put less of an I need to do every single thing person.
That part.
Yeah.
Now, I would not argue, but offer, in terms of being better organized or better focused, like in what way, like where are you already that way and how can you capitalize on that more? So one of my clients is a novelist. She also has ADD and 3 children under the age of 9, and also is a real estate developer and also all the things. And so she'll very often say, like, I can't get focused. And if I was focused and I'd be able to finish the novel, yada, yada. And so we kind of worked backwards to go, when are you feeling focused? Can we capitalize and spread on that time? What is helpful to you to actually be focused? So, you know, Nanny comes at this time instead of that time. She takes half of an Adderall because we know that helps. She only works at this one coffee shop because they like the sandwiches that she wants to eat, so she doesn't need to leave for lunch. So just like kind of play with that a little bit and just where is it already working and how do you just add to that?
That's rhetorical, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Unless you would like to, yes, unless you would like to discuss, I'm happy to, but yes, it is rhetorical.
On the spot.
But
Yeah.
feel free to answer.
Yes. That's one of those kind of slippery slope questions of like, I need to just be better. Like, well,
Yeah.
okay, that's at least not maybe for you, but for me, like, that's probably not gonna happen. I just kind of am who I am. So how do I just
Yeah.
make it work?
For me, it's up here. So getting this organized to where I don't have the, like you talked about, where, you know, going down these rabbit holes. So meditation is really, and detachment is really what my focus is in this coming year ahead to get this a little bit better organized.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the coach of like workarounds. And so some of my thoughts sometimes with many of my clients are neurodivergent. So lots of ADD, autism, rabbit holes everywhere. That's just how we roll. And so instead of like, hey, don't do that, which that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Or that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like
And
you
it can be
can't-
very useful in like,
Yeah, so like,
the
how do
right
we-
situation.
how do we just, when we are hyper-focused or when we switch into that place, how do we maximize it? Can you offer yourself kindness when you're just in a place where like, nope, nothing else is happening today? It's just not going to. So can you let it go do something fun and come back to it instead of just beating yourself up in front of the computer for 2 hours? Like, it's a waste of time. May as well have gotten a workout in or something.
Yeah,
So
gotta get unstuck.
yeah. Yeah, so practicing getting yourself unstuck and back into it. Any other thoughts or things people would like to share about who do I need to become?
I was just gonna kind of build on that. When I started my business, I make sauerkraut and kimchi and hot sauce. And it was
cool.
like something that really helped me in like my work-life balance, because I also have a full-time job here in Bay Springfield, is, you know, just thinking about the mastery piece of it. Is just that, like, you know, it really kind of helped snap me into focus. And then I was mastering a skill, you know, and it was just like and I was just focused on just becoming the best, you know, sauerkraut maker that I could be. And it was okay that I don't want or know how to fix my fence or like do like all these things around my old house. It's just like, you know, it's like, I don't have to know how to do everything. You know?
Like
I like
allow
that perspective.
Mhm.
allow yourself to just be bad at the things that it's totally fine for you to be bad at. So the second category, what do I need to prioritize? What's something on your current to-do list that should probably be downgraded? Or things that are not on your list at all that should probably be there.
Should look at the do.
If you look at the to-do, I love it. If I had gold stars, Don, you get one. And it can be your kind of daily reoccurring to-do list, but also there's a concept called like technical debt or project debt. So before I was a coach, I worked for a management consulting firm. So I learned lots of fun project type things. But anyway, there is this debt, and it's kind of this collective burden of decisions that were made in the past that are no longer relevant, but we have to keep them because that's just how the project started, and the stakeholders and whoever else says we have to keep going this way. Sometimes we will do this to ourselves, or we will keep things on our to-do list or I should lists for a long time, because 2 years ago I said I would and I still haven't. Guess what? You get to just not do it and let it go. Yeah. Right? And I think there's a part of me that always feels really relieved, and then there's another part of me that's like, okay, but just from a optimization standpoint or logistics standpoint, you can't possibly bring every thought you've had in the past forward with you. You simply don't have enough arms, enough capacity, enough time, enough energy. So what's something on your to-do list, daily or kind of big term, that you can actually just remove? Or something on the list that needs bumped up? This is an invitation to reprioritization. I think this one can be fairly challenging if the thing that you might need to remove is something that you really want to do. It just isn't actually a fit for right now. It takes a level of constraint that is quite challenging sometimes. Does anyone have anything on this area they'd like to share?
Well, one of the things that I need to do is be better integrated. So I've got so many different areas that I'm involved in, like 6 different email accounts that I'm trying to keep track of. I gotta get everything integrated under one entity so that I'm not quite so scattered. So that's like a priority for me.
Yeah. I want to offer, sorry, John, you're just getting all of my attention this whole session, but
Well, I'm asking for it.
yeah,
so.
yeah. So a thing that I would offer that freaks some people out is that there's probably a way that you can simplify that process instead of maybe necessarily, because it sounds like the way that your brain is positioning it is like, this is a project that's going to take some time and attention and energy, and I'm going to need to like set aside time to do it and whatever, which continues pushing that project out. You could just stop answering 5 of the inboxes. People will find you. They're like really good at finding you when they want you to. I know that can be a little like, there might be leads or connections I want to follow up on or things in these other areas. Email is one of those communication areas where like when people need you, they will find you. And if they don't find you again, it's very probably that it's not that important. I had a coworker when I was in corporate. She had 3 kids, and every time she would come back from maternity leave, she would just delete all of the emails, all of them. And she would just be like, well, they'll email me back. Like if it's important, they'll email me again. Instead of taking her time to go through other people's requests for her attention, she was just like, nah. So I offer that to you as well. What are your thoughts on that? How does that make you feel?
Reminded of the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, who said, besides the noble art of getting things done, there's the noble art of not getting things done. The wisdom in life lies in the elimination of the non-essential, which is essentially what you just said. So
yes, sounds way better that way. But
So logical.
yes, and it's hard. Like it's a hard thing. Like it feels because again, communication channels, all these channels are open, and there's so much going on, and it feels rude almost to not make yourself available for people. But you have to remember, again, your inbox is like that's your house, like that's your home, and it wouldn't just like, yeah, come on, sure, yep, everybody just come on, no, going to bed, everybody get out. It's your space to do with what you would like.
That's good, guys.
Any other thoughts on prioritization on the list? Okay, what do I need to learn? So this is where I want you to get really specific about skills that you do not have that your vision would require you to have. Delegation skills is a huge part of that, or leadership skills, the ability to clearly communicate, this is the task, when it is done, here's how we're going to know when it's done, here's the the ability to delegate, for that leadership skill. It's a soft skill that is a tactical, useful skill. If there are technical skills you need, like tech skills, a better or more winning sales strategy, or the ability to sell in a new industry. And I don't, even that, the how to win more business is very broad. I want you to what's the actual skill there? Do you need to know how to close? Do you need to know how to generate leads? You can even get more specific with that, but what skills do you need to learn? Does anyone have any skills they want to share, or a thing that they're not quite sure how to put into something tangible that they can measure?
Well, one of mine is the ability to delegate tasks more confidently and effectively. And I think that there's just, subcategories of that I'm kind of stuck as far as, delineating.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a few questions then.
Okay.
When it comes to delegation, do you feel like your challenge where you're feeling maybe insecure or not confident is in the communication with the person? Is it at the feedback part after they've done the thing? Is it at the very beginning where kind of anticipation of the thing needs done, but I don't want to ask anyone? Where is the breakdown in the process?
I would say both, in that just, being able to kind of know how to ask, somebody to help me do something in a way that I know they understand, and that I am able to kind of let go of, just perfectionism, and it's I'm not terrible at it, but it's just something where you're just all when you're just super busy, it's it'd just be faster to do it myself, and I feel like that takes away from their opportunity to do it. Or sometimes, just delegating around my house.
Yes.
It's like asking somebody to help with, some chore, and then, it's I know that I'm going to get some attitude back, and it's just being able to kind of not be deterred by that and just keep it positive.
Yeah.
So,
so what I will share with you, and you can share with everyone, I have a delegation framework, because delegation is one of those
cool.
skill sets, that's like transitioning from, okay, I've been doing this for myself for a while, but to do anything else, I need to like invite people in to help me at home or at work. So I've just got a framework that gets you and that same person on the same page, predominantly of like, what is the task? How would we both know that this task has been complete? Because I'll tell my kid, get dressed, and he comes out with a sock on and a t-shirt, and I'm like, oh, we have different expectations for what this
Yeah.
completion of this task is.
That's what I
I understand, let me be clearer. So anyway, that's a funny example, but I also found it working really well for like remote teams and with contractors of just, hey, here's where we both can, both parties are very clear about what the expectation actually is here. And even saying little things like, what resources are available for you to use to solve this? My name is not on that list. Don't call me, don't ask me questions, but you can ask Joey, look up this place, like here's where you can get help. So even just setting people up to not make you the de facto thinker. So I will share that with you. And then another way, like we think about these skills and the ability to measure them. I think even measuring, like at the end of the week, if you do any sort of evaluation or reflection, or sometimes I'll have clients keep like a little scorecard by their desk of their skills that they're working on. It's just how many times did you ask someone to do something for you this week? And just kind of off the top of your head, like 2, 3, whatever. It's just the effort of looking at it every week keeps it more top of mind, and you'll start doing it more and more and more. So I can share that framework with you.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other things? The back half of our table here is quiet. It's totally okay if you want to be, but okay, the last section. How would future you make decisions in your current life? So I want you to think about the decisions that are on your plate right now, and then kind of also take a part of your brain and go back to how you were feeling doing the 1 year from now exercise and kind of grab that future you, or excuse me, future you, and kind of imagine future you and current you are sitting down in a meeting like, okay, well, here's some things we need to talk about. How would future you respond to some of this stuff? Are there any decisions that are made much clearer by thinking about future you solving? From my own experience, future me is very often like, I know you don't want to have this conversation, but we definitely need to go have this conversation. And this applies both to work and home. So I've had clients who kind of in a similar task or of having future them help them make decisions now. They come up with things like, I definitely need to ask for this book of business, and I need to actually fire that contractor. But then it also, in a great way, bleeds into their lives of like, oh, I got to have this conversation with my mother-in-law, and I don't want to, but it'd be better boundaries for both of us, right? So anything that future you can help you with, like, let them help you, let them make that decision clearer. There's something about, even though this person is you and it's also imaginary, there's something about like, well, they told me I need to. So that kind of gives you on the hook enough to like do the thing sometimes, and sometimes it's just for action. So play with that a little bit, make it useful for you. Does anyone want to share any of the decisions that future them is like, hey, so we need to do this?
What will I learn from this experience and how will it help me grow? What impact will this decision have on my relationship with my family? Does this opportunity align well with my skill set and unique talents? And do I trust and respect the person across the table?
Future you sounds very smart. You should listen to them.
Future me is the best.
Yeah, future me. That's how I feel about future me. Like, they're so smart. Dang, yeah, those are great questions.
And they have expectations.
Yes, future me. I think future me, and again, because of the way this exercise is organized, future me has like standards that sometimes are hard for me to stand in, maybe in the day-to-day when I'm like, but I really just want to work with this person, and yes, I see these flags, but and future me is like, no, like literally, what are you talking about? Absolutely not.
Well, something I've just discovered in my life is that sometimes my long-term future me tends to be surprisingly accurate. So even if my shorter term future me is like, it doesn't actually pan out. Like, just some of the visions I had for myself as a young person that, just whatever, I wasn't sure I was ever going to get there. It's like, there's some now that I'm suddenly just like, I did it.
Yeah.
Even though it was a winding road, it was just setting that vision.
Yes.
So long ago. It's been a real guiding light.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find that my future self is logical and rational, but my current self is very neurotic. So
Right.
Yes.
It'd be a great combination.
Yeah, like those two people work well together, right? Yeah. Okay. I want to share with you all what you can do with this. Again, it's very nice that it's on this piece of paper. It's completely useless to you if you do nothing with it after walking out of here. But first, any other thoughts, questions about the things you pulled out? Anything you'd just like to share?
I just had one real quick. It's kind of a delay. Really, you prompted the back of the table for anything. So
I mean to bully the back of the table.
Yeah. So it's like the question of what do I need to learn? What I wrote down was pricing myself. And so the thing that made me think of that was, I sort of have like a wide range of skill sets. And a while back, my neighbor came up to me and was like, oh, I heard you can make websites. I have something, I kind of wanted you to do. And I never got back to him because what do I charge it? It's like, he's my neighbor. Do I go for like the cutthroat rate or the friends and family rate, or, and like, I don't even know what those numbers are. I just know that I should probably have those, sorts of like a rate book or something.
Yeah.
We do that in co-starters.
Oh, okay. Well,
I love that. I have also a podcast episode I can share. There's plenty of information out there about it, but I love that you're very specific of like, oh, I can come up with a price book for myself just so that when these things come in, I have some sort of grounds to work off of. Throw on my 2 cents that you didn't ask for. For me, the friends and family rate is typically the higher rate because of what is at stake there.
Because they're friends and family.
Because they're friends and family. Or just
I gotta redo it twice.
yeah, right. Or like, there'll be more revisions and more conversations, or you see them when you're both taking out the trash, and now that's time you would never have with a regular client that you're now talking with them. So I do work with friends and family, but I'm also very clear about like, okay, if you want to do this, here's how we do it. Okay.
I think you raise an interesting point for me is I've always loved the business of business, but I have had to learn how to treat it like a profession, like a doctor does, or a dentist does, or so that I'm not over the trash can covering an item of value that, rather than in my office seated here, let me find the cavity.
Absolutely. Like, I also have had multiple learning curves with that of just when I am with my client, my friends, I can say, would you like me to tell you what I think as a coach? And so I maybe give them, whatever, we're having this conversation, but if they ask again, like, great, here's how you can hire me. We're just going to take this conversation because I want to be very clear about this is our coaching relationship or whatever the relationship is. And this is us being friends and having a good time. I don't want to mix those. I don't want it just gets weird and uncomfortable. Like, so happy to do this with you more. Here's my website. This is where you can book a call with me. Because then you get frustrated too that Aunt Mary took your advice 3 times and she didn't do a thing about it. And now you're like, I'm wasting my time. Like, let's just, we'll keep them clean.
And somehow it's turned her words or your words into her words and it didn't work. And then now it's your fault
that this didn't work out. Yes. Listen, the amount of time
and
that
you get paid either.
and now she's telling people that you don't know. Yeah, like, no, here's a very clean container over here. And
You did not do all the exercises.
Yeah, yes.
Good insight.
Yes. Okay, so this is what I want to add briefly as we're wrapping up. Wherever you keep your to-dos, make sure your tasks actually get over there onto that list, out of this booklet and onto a list somewhere. I would very much suggest that you create like definitive or qualitative, like write a qualitative statement as a to-do versus learn how to price myself, which doesn't have like, I appreciate the example because it's perfect of like, to what end? What does that mean? How would you know when you're done? Versus decide what my base price is for these 3 offerings. Because that way you can have a, I know when I'm finished moment. So get your to-dos over there. I would also put in your calendar to review what you wrote down again, like the beginning of next quarter, just to see like what has changed. So the 1 year from now exercise I do, my coaching practice is kind of based on this. We pull out to-dos and coaching objectives and business decisions and strategy changes that need to be made from the 1 year from now vision with my clients. But we do this exercise like every quarter. Sometimes I do it when I'm just like walking or whatever, having a conversation with 1 year from now Hailey. Again, she's very smart and pretty and fun and all that. But it's never, this isn't a one and done thing, but I hope for you all that this is a practice of like, oh, I can kind of jump into the future and then work my way back from there and ask myself, what am I missing? What decisions need to be made? Who do I want to be? If there's any part of your decision that was fuzzy or your brain is being really resistant to, so for whatever reasons, there are kind of areas that our brains are incredibly resistant to solving for because of, it seems like too big of a task, it seems overwhelming, I'm not sure, I don't know how to get started. So the brain can be very resistant to starting there. Give yourself time, go little by little with care. So I don't, again, want you to hear like, kick your brain in the face and make it give you an answer. But I love to gently ask my brain like, okay, but what if, whatever, it's like, I don't know. Okay, but what if you did know? Like, just what if you did know? I don't know. Okay, but what if you did? Right? And usually it takes me 3 or 4 times asking myself that before my brain's like, okay, well, if I did know, then this is where I would start. Perfect. Great. Start there. Right?
In teaching theory, they call it, I believe, the zone of proximal learning. And it's just going beyond your comfort level. So you're not getting overwhelmed, but you are growing. And it's just so this incremental growth. And it's like, it's so logical, but it's just such a hard thing to like really, practice sometimes.
I had a sales coach, in much more simpler terms, put it simply, you really want to know what they're thinking. Ask the same question 3 different times, take the 3rd answer.
Yes.
Because they sort of strip away those obvious.
Yeah.
But I've applied it to myself many times too. And it was kind of similar to yours of how do I ask it? Or
Just keep asking. Just keep asking it.
And finally that aha comes that.
The brain is a very interesting mechanism. It is deeply fascinating. And
it fights us the most on the stuff we need to do.
100%, right? Because its main purpose as a machine is for preservation. And so most of the stuff that we want to do as entrepreneurs is about stretching and growing and new things. And even if the new things are good things, the brain will fight back because it doesn't have a predictive model to know what could be coming. So it's like, how about instead of the new things, we just like keep doing the old things? Even if you don't like the old things, it's like, well, better, what is it? Devil that you know, right? So your brain will continue with that, even if you don't like it. And so part of the vision exercise and like all this mindset work and how are you feeling and trying to integrate the body is just a way to like kindly kind of get around the brain's bullshit.
Outsmart
honestly.
yourself.
Yeah, like it's just kind of, we're just gonna go around. You know what? Forget it. We'll just, through is not working. We will go around to kind of keep our brains going. So final questions, comments, concerns, general thoughts.
Really enjoyed it. This is really helpful. I came in very hopeful and excited about it and exceeded my expectations, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for spending time with us today, Hailey. We're not sitting down and doing this on our own,
Yeah.
Coaching from people like you. So thank you again.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. As I mentioned, I'm on the internet everywhere at OYFN.co, 1yearfromnow.co. And so if you did not get a copy of this, you can download one there. It's under the Start tab. And then there's also a podcast, and I occasionally write stuff to my email list that I think is funny, but is also useful. So you can find all of that there. So